everybody? We're live once again. Don't Know Diaries, page 12. We're glad to be back. Again, guestless because of this whole virus issue. But as you can see, a whole bunch has changed through this quarantine, and I'm sure it's changed a lot for you guys. But basically, I got a new setup now. Mic is over here, more camera. The camera is a little bit more intimate. And if you don't notice the big change already, I have a new pair of glasses. These are not heavy on the prescription, really. It's more for what you call astigmatism or astigmatism, and basically what that is the pupil in your eye. Um, for a lot of people, it becomes pretty much football shaped instead of an actual circle. So basically, these are just to correct that issue, and so that's why I got them. They're not heavy on the prescription, um, but it's supposed to help, or at least keep the same roundness that I have because it's so crazy. So when I went in to go check my eyes, um, they basically just put you in a whole bunch of machines that take pictures of your eyes, and I swear that shit is blinding. The So basically you have like a chin strap, and like a forehead strap, and they'll say ready, one, two, three, and then they'll flash like a bright ass light in your eye, and it's supposed to take a picture. And in some cases you have to like keep your eyes wide open, and it's kind of hard because they're fucking flashing you in the face. But at the same time, it's pretty cool. They had this new machine where it took up like a 3D picture of your eye. It's so crazy. And I saw, I don't know if you guys have ever had like an eye test before, but I got to see like the full view of my eye. And basically, you see the pupil, and it's not completely round, it's a little bit football shaped. And then also the iris around it, it looks so gnarly. It's like, it looks like, oh fuck, what do you call those in space? Uh, it just looks like space basically. So there's a circle and a whole bunch of like clouds, like green clouds around it, and then you see the whole bunch of veins through your eye that carry the blood basically, and then to the left of that you see the actual nerve of the eye, and it's so crazy because a whole bunch of little nerves are going around it. So that's what's been up new with me. And then also these glasses have a blue light filter on them, so since we're surrounded by screens all day basically, it's supposed to block out some of that blue light and create less strain on your eye. um, but anyways, I'm glad to be back. It's been a while. um, I've been working on some stuff like this new setup, and I'm in love with it. If you don't, if you can't tell, there's like a little icon right here now of my podcast, the Don't Know Diaries podcast. And yeah, I'm basically just gonna keep trying to improve and see where this goes. But um, I wanted to talk about today about, I don't know if you guys have ever had rats in your house, but this friend was telling me how he has rats in his house. And I don't know if you guys know anything about rats, but rats are fucking disgusting, dude. They just carry fucking disease all the way. They just live in crap all day. They touch food. Sometimes they don't even eat food. They just eat whatever's around. Anyways, rats are just fucking gross. And I don't know if you guys have seen them in New York. Those things are fucking massive. Those shits look like cats. But anyways, so I had this friend, and he was telling me about how he had he's been hearing like rat noises, um and all he in the walls, all he hears is like little feet on the walls. And at first he didn't think much of it until it kept happening over and over and over. And then he told his dad about it, and he's like, "Hey dad, I think we have rats in the walls." And his dad was like fucking rats. Are you crazy? How can there be fucking rats in the walls? Like, he doesn't know that there's little holes everywhere where they can go through. But anyways, so he tells me that his dad thinks he's crazy and that there's basically rats everywhere in the house. And he said that his dad kept telling him that it was the wind. So I'm like, damn, dude. I guess the wind's been fucking eating up your walls once they clean everything out. And then not only that, besides him bringing it up, it was also uh, his mom, his brother, and like everybody has heard the rats, and the dad just refuses to believe that there are rats in the house. And honestly, I think I might be able to pull up a picture here. Give me a second. But we can look up rats together. Let's see. I'm gonna show you guys how fucking big these rats can be. And I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary Rats. Um, but um so look at this picture right here. If you look at this picture, so look how fucking big that rat is compared to that cat. And the friend that I had about the rats, he told me that they've made like nests around their house, and they put traps outside, and the same day they caught three like baby rats. Um, and I guess a whole bunch of rats like make nests everywhere. And I mean, just look at this shit. If you guys had like this crawling on you, oh my god, they're so gross. I don't know if you guys have seen Ratatouille, but that bitch is not it. But as far as that goes, I told him that he might need like an exterminator or something because that shit is disgusting. And so in that documentary Rats, there's this part. I think it's still on Netflix if you guys want to go ahead and watch it, but it's fucking disgusting. Anyways, so in that documentary Rats, a whole bunch of scientists come up and like grab rats from the field, and what they'll do is like put them in a bag, and I guess that bag contains like gas, and the gas is supposed to like put them to sleep, and then the bag is supposed to suffocate them. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. Don't bring up that PETA bullshit. But anyways, so they put them to sleep, they kill them basically, and then they go see what diseases they have. And all the fucking rats they test like 10 of them, and all the rats they test, every one of them has a fucking disease in their fucking feet, in their face, in their mouth, everywhere. But anyways, so they grab this one rat, and he has this black, like gooey looking thing right on his chest right here. And they go to test on it, they flip it over, and then they pull out that gooey thing, and it's this fucking worm. It's like this fucking big and like this thick, and it's been eating away at his chest. So when they pull it out, it's just this huge empty fucking hole in his chest, and he's just been walking around like that. And rats, I don't know if you guys have seen, but rats fucking are carriers of disease everywhere. It's crazy. But anyways, if you guys think you have rats, don't let it get out of fucking control. Hire an exterminator, hire a fucking whatever they call the pest control or whatever, because those shits could get out of hand and it's disgusting. We recently here had a mouse. It wasn't a rat, which I mean, big fucking difference, right? But so we had a mouse, and literally the moment my dad saw it, he took everything apart. He took out like the dishwasher, the stove, the fucking sink. I don't know how he did it, but he took it all off. And once he took it all off, we couldn't really find anything. But what we did find was little holes everywhere where the rat could have gone. And what we did was we covered everything, every little hole with tape. And then my mom, she also bought, I don't know if you guys have seen, but it's like a little, um, um, it's like this little device, no bigger than like a sponge, maybe like the size of this. But anyways, that little device. It's supposed to create like a sound, a high frequency noise, kind of like a dog whistle. But I guess only the rats can hear it, and they don't like it. So she bought that. So I don't know what it was, if it was us covering the holes, or if it was us using that thing, or both. Um, but the friend that I have, the one who told me about the rats, he said that they've put like rat traps, the ones that clamp, and they just snatch the cheese and don't fucking get in the trap, which is crazy how smart they can be. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried to kill a mouse or a rat, but it's fucking hard. Those shits are fast. I don't know what Ratatouille has fucking been eating or training, but those bitches are fast. So that's the story on the rats. Um, Pretty much stay the fuck away from rats. If you see a rat, get it the fuck away. Fucking use poison, use everything, because not only will they um, nest, but they'll also start to eat at the walls, and that's what I think my friend's dad doesn't understand, that they'll start eating the wood. So once he actually starts to do something about it, he'll see that there's fucking hungry hippos out there fucking chomping on the wood. Um, but anyways, so over the quarantine, I've been watching quite a bit of movies actually. Sadly, we can't go to the movie theaters anymore, and well, I think one of the movie theaters is open here, but I think that's just dumb because at the moment, like in Utah at least, like the corona outbreak is still all over the place, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. But as far as that goes, um, I've been watching a lot of movies, and one of the good movies I've watched is called The Dirt. And I don't know if you guys have seen The Dirt, but basically, if you guys are into music, anything like that, rock stars, anything like that, you guys will love this movie. It's about this band called Motley Crue, and if you guys haven't heard of them, you guys should definitely listen to them. Kickstart My Heart, that's a good song by them. Anyways, so this movie's about these rock stars, and they're fucking crazy. So a lot of like bands and rock stars in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, they all had like a persona, right? So I don't know if you guys have heard of Kiss or anything like that. But one of them dressed like a cat, the other one a dragon, the other one a starman, whatever it was. But these Motley Crue dudes, they didn't do anything like that. They were just fucking Motley Crue. And what ended up happening was, um, basically, like the guy who made the band, his name is Nikki Six, and um, so there's four guys. There's Nikki Six. There's, which is the bass player. There's Tommy Lee, which is the drummer. There's fuck, I'm forgetting their name. There's um, Mick Mars, and fuck, I can't remember his name. I feel so bad. Give me. But anyways, so these guys, um, Vince Neil, there you go. That's the singer. Um, so all these guys, they basically got together and made a band, and these guys were fucking crazy. So I mean, Nikki Six, the bass player, he got so much into heroin, and it shows all this in the movie. So he got so much into heroin that he ended up overdosing and dying because of the heroin. And when he was sent to like the ambulance, his the paramedic or whoever it was that was working on him was such a Motley Crue fan that he injected him with 2 shots of adrenaline, and that shit got him up quickly, and he ended up living. and the singer Vince Neil. All these guys have had like fucked up lives, but the singer Vince Neil, he had a daughter that passed away due to cancer, and the scene is so sad in that movie. Um, Tommy Lee, he basically, I mean, he was crazy. I've been listening to a couple podcasts and some that he's on, and he talks about how sometimes he would order room service and he would just be getting done eating out a girl that was on her period and he had blood all over his face. It looked like he just committed murder. And the person would knock, right? Hello, room service. And then he'd come in looking like, what? And then the guy would look all freaked out, all scared because he has blood all over his face, but he just finished eating out a girl. And it's, I mean, their lives are just so fucking crazy. All they do is like party, do drugs, and all of this shit. But at the end of the movie, and just now, recently in real life, I guess, they decided all in a band to go sober. And honestly, I think that when you do a whole bunch of drugs and just a whole bunch of partying and a whole bunch of alcohol and things like that, I think that there is like a joy that comes when you try to become uh, sober, when you try to sober up. Being sober is like the new high because finally you're not on something and finally you feel what it feels like to be quote unquote normal, or at least just feel what it feels like to be, you know, walking around like an everyday dude instead of having to shoot up and smoke and sniff all this crap. And it's so crazy that in the movie they go from this whole life of partying and abuse and drug abuse to just them trying to become better guys. And now if you look at interviews of Nikki Six, all he talks about are like being good and all these lessons that that life has taught him, and they're not all good, and some of them aren't all that bad because now they see what life of drugs and partying can do to you. And anyways, if you guys have time, I mean, of course, we're all quarantined right now. You should definitely watch that movie. It's definitely a good. It's called The Dirt. Again, it's the Motley Crue story. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the guy who directed all the Jackass movie directs it, Jeff Tremaine. Here, let's see. I'll show you guys what the I'll show you guys what the cover looks like so you guys can look it up. So here it is, The Dirt on Netflix. I don't know if you guys know who Machine Gun Kelly is, but he plays Tommy Lee in the movie, and then this is the actual real guys. So right here, as you can see, the guy with the blonde hair, that's Vince Neil, that's the main singer. The guy up here with the jean jacket, that is Nikki Six. The guy down here, all the way at the bottom, that's Tommy Lee, the drummer. And this guy right here, the one to the left with the black leather jacket, that's Mick Mars. So again, if you guys can watch that, I would definitely watch it. Another good movie I've seen, and I don't know if you guys have seen this one because it's kind of obscure and nobody's really seen it. It's called The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And what that movie's about, and if you really want to cry, you should definitely watch it. It used to be on Netflix. Sadly, it isn't anymore. But again, if you can watch it, definitely watch it. So what it's about is this boy is born as an old man, and as he grows older he becomes young. So it's the complete opposite of how we work. We get old and then die, but he gets young and then dies. But anyways, when he was born, his parents didn't want him. His dad just snatched him away and left him at some old people home, and then the people there took him in, and he blended right in because since he was a baby that was old, he grew up old. So when he was 10, he looked like he was 90. and it stars Brad Pitt, and it's like really early CGI, but it's still a good movie. Um, so his dad didn't want him, and he's a baby and he's old, but he's actually really young. And um, since he's getting younger, his mom or his caretaker, if you want to call it that, his caretaker basically suggested him that he could get a job since he's getting younger, and so he goes out and gets a job as a sailor. And with the sailor, they're all talking to him, and they ask him when was the last time he got laid, and he's like, "What's laid?" He's like, sex, and he's like, "What the fuck is sex?" And keep in mind, this is a 10-year-old boy, but he looks like he's 90. So he tells him, "Wow, I can't believe that in all your life you haven't gotten laid. That's so sad." And he's like, "Well, what are you gonna do about it?" So he's like, "Well, I'm gonna take you somewhere." So he takes him to this whorehouse, and he has like the time of his life. And keep in mind, he's 10, but he looks 90. And his life goes on, and then he finds the love of his life, and a whole bunch of things happen. And once he finds the love of his life, they move in together. They have all this kind of romance and everything. And we see, or in the movie at least, it shows that they're gonna have a kid, but he doesn't really want to be there because he doesn't feel it's right or fair for her to have to raise two kids. Because keep in mind, as he's getting older, he's getting younger. So eventually, there was a point where his wife, well, she becomes his wife, but him and his wife are the same age. But again, he's getting younger and she's getting older. So he doesn't think it's fair for her to have to raise like two kids basically without a grown up being there. So he leaves and she raises the kid on her own. And many years later, um, when I guess you could say he's in his 20s, but he's not really in his 20s. He's probably like 60, but he looks like he's in 20s, and she's like 70 years old, or however it works. Anyway, she's really old, and he's really young now, and they meet up again. They see each other again, and they're, "I miss you, all this, blah blah blah, but you're getting younger. I'm getting older. It's not gonna work." And they bang it out, and after that happens, he ends up leaving again for a while, and she found out that he's living in the old people home where he used to live as a kid. And when she finds him again, he's like 10. So he doesn't really remember anything. And now that she's older and has been with him for a while, she knows like what he likes. So he's all being wild and crazy at the old people home, and then she's like, "No, look, come over here, look at this piano," because he used to like playing the piano. And he finds interest in it, right? Because he knows, and she knows that he's into it. But as he keeps getting older and older, he keeps getting smaller and smaller. So when he's like 80, he's actually like, I don't know, 5. And she ends up staying there the whole time and like raising him and seeing things through and taking care of him as he becomes a baby. And basically at the end, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but at the end, as he grows older, of course we all have to die, so he becomes a baby, and she nurtures him and everything. And since he's a baby, of course he's gonna get to that age where he's not gonna function anymore because of how small he is. So as she's carrying him, they look into each other's eyes one last time, and then he passes away. And then the whole movie is told by the wife's point of view. So it's a really good, interesting movie if you guys want to watch that. And honestly, that movie is gonna make some of you cry, and that's okay. Fuck it. It's 2020. We can all cry. I'm sorry. I'm just getting used to these glasses. They're so weird. I don't get how people who have lived with glasses their whole lives. There's not that much of a change. Like if I'm like taking them off and on, when I take them off, it looks like um, it looks like when you rub your eyes and then look, and it's kind of blurry and it takes a while for your eyes to focus. That's what it looks like. Um, but besides that, I mean, besides the movies and everything, I don't know when this whole corona epidemic is gonna end. I mean, it looks pretty crazy out there. Everybody's been wearing masks, and if you're not wearing a mask when you go outside, fuck you. I mean, you're trying to get everybody sick. I mean, a lot of the things that I've noticed and things like that is that people still go outside and act like everything's fine, and then once they actually get sick, that's when they're like, oh, I don't know how this happened. Well, you were outside 2 fucking days ago with your friends partying it up like it's like corona ain't out there, and of course you're gonna get it. But that aside, I don't know when this is gonna end, and I've been reading some articles where it said that this could have been man-made. I don't know what you want to believe. I don't know what you believe in, but I mean, isn't just I think it's pretty weird that out of nowhere we had this virus that um, is gonna keep us inside, but it's meant to develop in like crowds. So if one of your family members has it, you're most likely to catch it because you live with them. And I don't know if we're gonna find a vaccine soon, and I don't even know if it's gonna work. But there are a lot of people out there who have corona antibodies, so I don't know if they might do something with that. Everything's getting shut down. I feel so bad for the small businesses. Um, and I mean, no matter how difficult this gets, I mean, there's nothing we can do. Like, yeah, we're all gonna take big ass losses in this epidemic, but I think at the end of this, when this is all over, a year or two from now, or whenever the fuck it is, we're gonna look back and see what we could have done right and what we did wrong, and how just to move forward as as a society, as a group, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But some of these people are never going to recover from this epidemic, sadly. And some of these people are going to fucking prosper and make millions and billions, or whatever they want to be successful in whatever field they want. They're going to do that because they saw this as a huge difference to not only better themselves but actually do the things that they want to do. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but a whole bunch of bikes everywhere are sold out, and that's because people are actually starting to do what the fuck they want to do now. And at least from my perspective or my point of view, that's great, because I feel like it's been a long time, and there's been a lot of people that have been oppressed by a job that they fucking hate to go to. And yeah, we might not get the same income that we once had, but look at the bright around you, Your kids are safe, you're safe. I don't know, your dog's alive, you have a home, hopefully. You're doing all right. And I mean, for those people who don't want to cut the little guy a slack now, I mean, like, how big of a fucking scumbag are you? We're all going through this together. It's not just a group of people that decided, oh, we're gonna all get fucking coronavirus and stay over here in our bubble. Hopefully you don't get it. It's everybody in the country. And yes, we could be doing different on how we're handling things. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not gonna put the blame on anybody, but ultimately it's up to one's own to see. And because we all know what it fucking takes to get rid of this. Stay inside, wear a mask, whatever. basic things. Even my nephew follows it, and he's like barely turned 4. But for people to think that wearing a mask outside and, you know, wearing gloves or staying, keeping everybody's distance is a way of taking your rights away. Like, no, you fucking idiot. We want our rights back, and that's what we're trying to do. I mean, sadly, I think Halloween is going to be canceled, and no little kid's going to get fucking candy. And if they do, and if you're dumb enough to take your kid outside and go fucking trick or treating, then may God be with you, because I don't know if you're going to contract something. I would definitely not want to go outside in something like that, especially if somebody that you don't know, dirty ass hands, could be rubbing his hands in Corona water all day and just be giving your kids out pieces of candy. And yeah, little kids are less likely to contract it or whatever, but you're gonna take that chance? I mean, I wouldn't. And yes, the death rate is like very low, especially right now. It's getting lower, but why even take that risk? And you know, us young people, we're fine, whatever. We're healthy, we're big and strong, but it's not about us. It's about keeping the fucking elderly and the old people and the dudes who are sick and the girls who are sick and whatever. It's about keeping them healthy and not wanting to contract anything. Because as they get it, they're just going to contract it right back. And I mean, it sucked for people who didn't get a graduation this year, right? Who aren't going to get bonuses this year, right? Whose job or whose whole life has been devoted to opening up a business and it just went under now. It's all bad right now. Not just It's not just one person that's getting hate. It's not just one person that's getting all this shit. It's everybody. And ultimately, I think we all have to see this as a opportunity to do what we've always wanted to do. And that might be kind of hard since you're just staying home. But if you've always wanted to get, I don't know, if you've always wanted to get into computing, it's right there. You have a computer at home. And if not, I'm sure you can scrape up a couple dollars to purchase one on eBay or borrow one from a friend if you want to get into coding, anything like that. If you want to fucking learn how to draw naked girls all day, that's all you can do now. And that's fine. This should be and can be something positive, but as long as we keep looking at it as a negative, nothing's going to change. And back to the graduation stuff. I've seen that a whole bunch of schools are like planning on opening up again. And honestly, until they find like a definitive cure, a definitive antibody, a definitive vaccine, anything like that, I don't think you should be talking about opening anything up. Or at least schools. Because, I mean, think about it. I think more people graduated this year because teachers were just putting assignments online and everybody has access to online now, and if you didn't, you could go grab a computer from school. But anyways, that all aside, teachers are cutting more students slack because they know that things aren't the way they're used to. And there are definitely some teachers that aren't going to cut people that slack or whatever. But honestly, the teachers that I've had and the teachers that I've actually liked are the ones that actually put effort into knowing the students rather than just giving them something to do. And the teachers that give students something to do, yeah, the good ones are going to pass. But the ones that are more hands-on kind of learning, or that aren't that don't learn by looking at a whiteboard all day, the teachers who do that and just throw out a textbook and or lecture you, those are the teachers that are honestly just there for the paycheck. And maybe they're not. Maybe they truly want to help the students, but they don't go out of their way to actually see what will benefit their students. And now I feel like a whole bunch of people are passing because they can kind of, in a way, learn the way they want to. If they need more hands-on, YouTube is always a tool there for them, and then they could follow the steps, unlike the teacher who only has an hour and a half worth of material or whatever, or only has that hour limit. That's all they can do. And the students, they can actually take their time, walk through step by step. If they don't get it, they got the tools there, whatever. So as far as that goes, I think that schools shouldn't be opening up, and schools are fine right now as it is. Yeah, you're not gonna get the social interaction kids need, because of course kids need to be around kids, and kids learn from kids, and kids like to be around kids, and kids just like to be kids. And that part is going to be truly detrimental. But we're all heading, what you guys don't see is that is detrimental, but you're doing the exact same thing when you let them be on their phone the whole time after the day's over, after school, right? So you are only slowing down the process that is becoming right now. And that isn't to say that if kids live around the same neighborhood, they can play. Like, ultimately, how it seems right now is they can play. You know, let kids be kids from a distance, of course. Don't let them, wrestle or whatever kids like to do. But as long as they're not being dirty or being clean, you're watching them, things like that, go ahead, still be kids. Because I see people out there in parks all day. Some of them have masks, some of them don't. But we're outside, it's not in an enclosed area where everybody's going to be breathing the same breath and things like that. I think in the long run, kids right now are going to miss out a lot of things and a lot of childhood experiences that they could have had. There's not going to be any more scrapes, not any more falls, not any more busted heads. And ultimately, nothing to tell when you're older. Like, what did you do as a kid? Oh, I just played on my phone all day. That sounds worse than what did you do all day? Well, one day I was riding a bike, some raccoon right in front of me. I fucking tried to swerve out of the way. I hit the trash can. That trash can somehow tumbled over. I fell on top of it, busted my head open, 3 stitches. That's going to be more of a story, and that's going to be more of a memory, rather than just staring at a phone watching fucking whatever it is, because kids have access to all that right now. And the parents who, not to blame anything on you, not to say you're a bad parent, and if you get mad, it's probably because it's true. But anyways, the parents who calm their kids down by giving them a phone or giving them an iPad, or giving them whatever, a computer, how dumb are you? You cannot get mad when all they want to do is be on that fucking thing, because you haven't shown them anything else. And there comes a point where the kid's gonna realize, hey, my friend always went on these family trips, always did this thing, was always outside. Meanwhile, my parents just gave me a phone to here entertain yourself. And that's fine. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes they learn so much from it. Sometimes they learn new languages. Sometimes they learn new fucking math, new whatever, new art. But there has to be a limit. There has to be some kind of time that you get and give them to be on your phone. And this doesn't just only go for kids. This goes for everybody. These little devices take up most of our day, and for no reason. I'm not saying I'm the perfect example of time on the phone, time spent on phone or whatever, but I'm just saying that we could all do better of course, we can always do better. We need to have a proper timeline, or at least some kind of schedule to where we can be on the phone or on social media or whatever. Because honestly, I noticed that so much insecurity and so much hate, so much um, discomfort comes from social media. Like, for me, for example, I'm not the fittest guy, but if I see a fit guy on social media and I say, oh, I want to be like that, and I put in the work into it, and I put in everything, and I go to the gym every day or whatever it takes, I go do a diet or whatever, I will still most likely not look like that because we are all built differently. And the thing that sucks is that all we see on social media and online basically is happy, right? Not every moment of your life is going to be fucking happy. And that's what we don't understand, that we see all this money on social media, all this happiness, all these laughs, all these vacations, all everything like that. And we want that, of course. Who doesn't want that? But not, they don't show the grind it took to get there, or at least maybe it didn't even take them a grind. Maybe they won it or whatever. Whatever the case may be. All we see is happy. And we want to get there. But since we're too busy looking at our phone, or whatever it may be, our social media, we are stopping ourselves from doing the things that we know can get us there. And honestly, it's such a different time we live in now, because when our parents and our parents' parents were young and kids, they never had to deal with any of, you know, all this social media. If they wanted to look at a fucking girl, they had to legit look at magazines and, you know, do whatever they want. They had to look at magazines. The most they had was like a radio, maybe a black and white TV. And the black and white TV was like only 2 channels. And then now you pay $60 and you get all these fucking unlimited 120 plus channels, and you got the Netflix and you got the Hulu and you got Disney Plus now and everything. We are just surrounded by so much information nowadays that I feel like our brain becomes overloaded and looks for ways to express that in a way, I think. So what I mean is, if I'm taking in so much information a day, it has to go somewhere. I have to put it somewhere. So I think that's where we put it, to where we start comparing things. So that guy has a better car than me. That guy has a better girl than me. That girl has a better butt than me. That dude has a bigger chest than me. That dude has a bigger bicep than me. That woman, the money, whatever. There's always going to be somebody that does it better than you. There's always going to be somebody that does it better. There's always going to be somebody who's better. There's going to be somebody who lives better, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, we have to look at what we got and appreciate the things that we have. And if we want more, we have to be able to look at ourselves and say, hey, you need to cut out all this from your life, because that's just stopping you from reaching your ultimate goal. And at least for me, right now, my goal is this. You know, starting this podcast, because it really is just starting. Starting this podcast and just getting my voice out there. I mean, it might not be the best, but if I can sneak in those 2-3 words of wisdom, of motivation to anybody, even just one person, that makes all the fucking difference. I'm not here to like preach how I live my life and how I do things. That's not me at all. I would never do that. I'm here to preach how everybody has the ability to be better and everybody can be better. And just because you look at something or someone or whatever, that is better, bigger, or stronger than you, that doesn't mean you're nothing. That doesn't mean you're worthless. That just means that you can try that much harder to become what you want to become and do what you want to do, right? I've seen, you know, after high school, so many people go different ways, you know. Some people are going to be lawyers, some people are going to be fucking rock stars, somebody's going to be the next big politician, the next big artist, the next big whatever it may be. And sometimes I feel as if we get in the way of our own selves. Because honestly, it is just common sense. If you want to be a big rock star, just go out, find an instrument, and become good. Just keep practicing every day. You might not get it in the first 3, 4, 500, 600, 1,000 tries, but you're gonna get it one day. And same thing goes with everything else. If you want to be a doctor, just keep studying, keep studying. It might be harder for you than it is for somebody else, but because they're wired a different way than you, but it doesn't make you any less capable of it. It's just going to take you that much harder, and at the end of the day, you're going to be able to look at yourself and say, this was a fucking pain in the ass. This kicked my ass every day, but you know what? I surpassed it. I became better. I conquered what I didn't think was possible. Now, truly, there's going to be people that are just going to hate you. There's going to be people that just despise what you have. And you might be one of them. You might be looking at the people online and saying, hey, he has a better car than me, fuck this guy. But no, that's not what you should be saying. Instead, you should look at it in the other way and say, hey, this guy has a better car than me, but you know what? I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get what I want to be, because I'm absolutely positive that his dream car or that your dream car is the complete opposite, the complete different than his point of view and your point of view. You guys don't want the same thing. And that's okay. It's okay to want different things. It's okay to want to go a different route with things. As long as you stick to your craft and you do what you say you're going to do, and you put your mind to it and you beat it out no matter how many times and how many people say no and how many people get in your way, you're gonna fucking do it. And it's so crazy to me to see just how many haters there can be out there, because I'm sure that each and every one of those haters was at one point that person who had a dream. Right, everybody. Sorry about that. There was technical difficulties, but I managed to fix them. Um, anyways, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Fuck what anybody says. Your goal is your goal, and you're gonna do it. 100%. If you're gonna stick to it, I believe in you. Anyways, let's move on from that. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me rant, but another thing I wanted to discuss, actually, and I don't have any political view. I'm not gonna get into politics or anything like that, but Kanye is running for president in 2020, and we all know that's a big fucking deal because, you know, Ye is gonna be running for president. And honestly, like I said, I'm not gonna take sides. I don't know anything about his political thing. I haven't done my research on it, but it just seems like he's going a little crazy. I don't know if you guys have seen the video when he just bursts out about how he almost killed his daughter, right? And when I saw that, honestly, I was like, okay, like what the, like, I think he's gone a little crazy. Even Kim wants to divorce him now, which is something that should arouse suspicion at least. And if you notice, Kanye, he usually what he does is make a big, huge rant and then drops an album. You know, first it was the whole TMZ Taylor Swift thing, boom album. Then it was siding with Trump and moving on to his Jesus ways, boom album. And now he's doing this whole political thing. And he announced that he's going to be dropping an album. So honestly, I don't know what to think. I don't know what he's going to do. But it just seems that he's going a little weird. And I mean, even like his wife, Kim, she said that she just can't handle his bipolar ways. And I mean, if you look at one of his albums, it's called I Hate Being Bipolar. It's awesome. So I can only imagine what it's like living with a dude like that. And he wants to run for president. I'm just saying, shit just don't seem right. And I mean, at this point, it's like, fuck it, you know? Like, we got Trump elected. Like, why not give this fucking dude a chance, right? It's all the same. I mean, Trump had, like, no political experience or anything like that. Kanye doesn't either, but I mean, fuck it, you know? Kanye said that he was going to give anybody who was pregnant $1 million. So, I mean, $1 million is $1 million. But what a lot of people don't realize is that presidents have been saying shit like that since the start. Like, I mean, not to run back to Trump, but Trump said he was going to build the wall and Mexico was going to pay for it. I mean, he did end up building the wall, but has it really stopped anything? I mean, the only thing that's caused is his fucking internment camps that he has for Mexicans. And let's just go to that really quick. So, I've been on Twitter. I mean, as I probably shouldn't be. But I saw when this whole BLM movement, Black Lives Matter movement, was going on, a lot of people were saying, how come you all didn't do this shit for the internment camps of the Mexicans? I looked at those people and I thought, you're a fucking idiot. Because there were protests going on, you just didn't bother to fucking show up for them. There's so many people out there who are fighting every day to get those people out. And being Hispanic, Latino, whatever you want to call it, it does sadden me. And I don't know if you guys have seen the video. And it's pretty old, but it's about this guy who was recorded in the internment camp, and he was so sick, and people refused to, the people there, the guards or whoever it may be, they refused to look at him. So what he does is he goes, lays down on the floor, at least from the camera view, so the camera's like right there, and he comes in all sickly, all stumbling. He grabs like a foil blanket, lays down and try to, you know, cover himself, get warm. Then he stands up, goes to the toilet, and just boom, falls dead. And people didn't do fucking shit about it. And I can't believe it hasn't been talked about more, right? Um, and it's crazy to me how people will go out of their way to say, how come people aren't protesting? How come people aren't rioting? How come they're not getting out? They fucking are, you douchebag. You're just not there to witness or see any of it because you're too busy just scrolling through your news feed or your Twitter feed or whatever it may be and commenting how come they don't do that. And that just goes with anything. Now that this whole Black Lives Matter movement has gone out, and I mean, it's still going on, right? People just hopped on it when it was trending. It's still going on all over the place. So if you're one of those douchebags who just hops on the fucking trending train, like, come on. If you're gonna support something, support it for the right reasons. And I don't know what it was, man. Like, I don't know what it got into these cops where this whole Black Lives Matter movement just, like, flipped the switch inside their mind. And they were, I don't know if you guys saw the video, too, of this old man who's, like, standing right in front of the cops and they just fucking knock his ass down and his head is bleeding. And none of them help him. Like, 30 cops walk by him and none of them help him. Or, like, the video of this guy driving by while the riots are going on and he's doing nothing. And one of the cops yells, "Stop." And for some reason, they just start blasting his car. And he gets out and is all pissed and he says, "Hey, there's my pregnant wife in there." And they all tell him, "Hey, get the fuck out," whatever it might be. And they're shooting him, like, for no reason. And, people are gonna get mad when you say not all cops are bad. And they're gonna say, good cops exist too. But the fact of the matter is that there are cops for a reason, and it's happened everywhere where as soon as one crazy person gets huge power, they just fucking take down the little guy. And it's not that cops are bad, it's that those people that were hired to do that job is bad. So instead of saying, like, all cops are bastards or whatever you want to say, you should be saying, why don't we fix the recruiting process, or like make it this extensive training, extensive profile check, whatever. Like, why don't we just do that instead of saying that all cops are bad? Because there's truly, and I don't care how much hate I get for it or whatever, but there is truly good cops who are trying to do their job and just want people to be safe. Everybody's just trying to do their job sometimes, and they're just outweighed, and so much news and so much media goes towards those bad people. Because what makes a better, story, like, header? White cop kills black guy for no reason, or, cop saves cat from a tree. They both are news in some way, but one is going to outweigh the other. And unfortunately, we're fed so much news and so much social media that we just filter out the good ones, and we don't care about the good ones because there's so much bad in the world. But as far as that goes, there are definitely things that need to change. And there are many, many, many petitions that need to be signed. And there are many, many things that we need to do. But you know what? I'm going to let you in on a secret. We have the right to change all of that. Not everybody's gonna live forever. All people, all generations before us are gonna die. And we're gonna die too. But you know what? It's gonna be this generation, if people want it to or not, that are gonna make a difference. And honestly, as bad as our generation seems, I think we could do more good than we can bad. And I think there will be a lot of things fixed that have been meaning to be fixed in, over years or centuries or whatever it may be. Because for one, I don't believe that the generation before us would have cared much about the protests. And just look how much difference we've done. A whole bunch of black local shops and a whole bunch of foreign local shops, a whole bunch of foreign communities are now rising up and seeing that they can actually make a difference. And it was like when Martin Luther King was alive. They just needed that push, that guidance, and in that case that was Martin Luther King. But they did it because they saw that there could be a difference, there could be a light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like that's what people are seeing now. So now that we got this ball rolling, like, why stop? There are so many things that need to be changed, and I feel like we have the right mindset, the right brain, the right thing. We're like the most advanced in technology that we've ever been. So why not use that into our advantage and instead stop pointing fingers, saying, "Hey, this is your fault, your fault, your fault," instead of saying, "Yeah, it is your fault," or whoever it may be. But just because you're doing something different that I don't like doesn't mean that when I get the opportunity, when I become whoever I want to be, I'm not gonna fucking change whatever I want to change. And I assure you, once the past generation is gone and we take over things, we're gonna change things. And I truly believe that it'll be for the better. And as far as that goes, I think that was quite a good process. We're at the hour mark now, so this will be the end of the podcast. Again, you can always listen to these on YouTube. They'll be up on Facebook after I finish this. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Like I said, I have this new setup. I'm trying things out. I'll edit it on YouTube, so it's not that cut. But you guys are seeing like the raw version, so take that for what you may. But again, you can find these on YouTube, Facebook. I got them on Spotify now, so Don't Know Diaries again. They'll be up on Castbox here shortly. And it was a pleasure to be talking to you guys again. It's been a while. I hope to come out with these. I'm not going to set up a timeline because I don't like to stick by dates, but let's just say I'm going to start doing them more. It's just going to take me a while. But again, I'll start putting these out more. Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, Castbox. Go listen to these on there. It's been a pleasure. Bye, guys.